Hello, guys. Hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's had an awesome week. It's time for the catch up with myself and Tim after an amazing week. I think it's actually been 2 weeks since we did this. It's been 2 weeks?
It has been 2 weeks, but we've had a busy 2 weeks, so I think we're allowed that.
I think we're allowed it. Yeah, I think we'll be let off. We've had a lot of awesome interviews. So yeah, if you look back at some of the insights we've gathered over the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty cool. It'd be quite good, I think, to go over those if you're up for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we've had about 7 speakers or something, 6 or 7.
Yeah, I think was it 7 speakers? Let me just quickly check. I'll bring it up now.
Well, we've had Lee, Masami, Sapna, Tommy and Ricky, Leanne, Raj, and Richard. Yes.
So we will have Christian in a few days' time. Let me just bring up the list. Yeah, so we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Amazing. Yeah, I feel like I learned a lot from every single speaker, to be honest. You may notice me during the lives, I'm taking notes. Using this as a chance to learn as well. Sabrina says, how's it going, Sabrina? Hope you're well. So first of all, let's look back at some of these amazing speakers. We had Lee Warren not too long ago. I found that amazing. Learning to present with confidence was awesome. I think probably the biggest things that I learned from that was how he approaches presenting not as a performance but as a form of communication, right? And he's got this amazing ritual that he uses where he basically labels. If he's feeling nervous, he gives it a label. He gives it an exact feeling, which is quite interesting because I think some people can easily get quite overwhelmed by it. What was your main take from the chat with Lee?
Well, again, the treating it as a method of communication, I think, is pretty important because a lot of people, some people are really strong. Like for me, I'm very strong in meetings. So like this one-on-one is awesome. I tend to really struggle in groups. So and I've also filmed like people that are pretty.
No audio, mate.
No audio.
Can't hear you.
Does that help? Can you hear me? No. Yeah, no.
Can't hear you.
No.
Maybe it's me.
2 seconds. Can anyone hear me? Could everyone give a thumbs up if you can hear me on the live? Can anyone hear me?
I'll put you out of the call, and I'll if you just jump back in again, that should work. Sometimes this happens. Slight intermission, guys. I'll play a quick video so you guys can keep entertained. So I think it's just my audio that's the problem, guys. So I'm going to wait for Tim to come back on, and then I will switch over with him. I think that's probably best. You can hear me, yeah, Sabrina? Cool. Tim, you're back in? It's just the audio on my computer, mate, so I'm going to switch over with you so you can take over for a bit while I fix it. See you in a sec.
No problem. No worries. So everyone, sorry about it's a good job it's happening on our talk, isn't it? And not one of the main guys. So yeah, thanks for bearing with us. So we've had some amazing this. I've actually realized we've had 8 people speak, not 7. So we're missing JP, of course, as well. And, I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys. If any of you got any questions about any of the talks that have gone on. So we've had someone giving leads. We've had advice with regards to content from Raj Katecha. Leanne has been really focused about pivoting online and going into going and using your assets online. We've had Tom and Ricky that have pivoted online as well. That's part of the Pivot Online series. Sapna's on branding. Branding is incredibly important right now, just due to the fact there is, everyone is trying to be visible. Everyone is trying to keep communication up with their audience. So I think that's a big one. Masami has got an amazing brand where she gives a lot and talks about how businesses really need to be giving right now. So that would be also a great topic to talk about. And then Lee Warren on presenting. So there's a nice mix there. So if anyone is really, really curious about how to learn more, or if they have any takeaways, I'd love to hear your comments. So obviously we've got a good section here where me and Seb can go through that and answer anything that you are concerned about. But just to kind of recap before Seb comes back about what's been going on with myself. So this week, as a content creator, we've been out busy shooting across Dubai. So we've been working with Dubai Media Office, and we actually did a little production down in Naif, which is actually the most infected area in Dubai. And I've got some really good news that they've now made that 0 cases. So a little quick win there for Dubai. So that's been something that I've been up to. But I mean, yeah, it's been a challenging couple of weeks for myself, having to pivot. And I think these talks, I've got a lot from them. So again, just going back to my question before, like, feel free to send in your questions. Seb, can you hear me, buddy?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
Amazing. So I just did a little recap. We missed out JP, mate. So there's actually 8 people, not 7.
Oh, wow.
We missed out.
That was an awesome one as well.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was one of the first, though. But I mean, yeah. So let's we were talking about Lee Warren. Let's pick up where we from left off. So you were asking me about what did I take away? Well,
your biggest takeaway from Lee Warren would be cool.
I mean, again, it's tying it back to looking at it as a communicational method, and I guess trying to level it up along with how you present or how you do talks or how you converse with just normal people. For me, I do really well in meetings. So this right now is something that I particularly am okay at, but I struggle with crowds. And I've something I've noticed as well with shooting a lot of business owners and CEOs just across my production career. Some people are amazing at talking, but really bad in front of the camera. So, I mean, it was really interesting to see how you could basically try and see it as all as one and just try to treat it as one communicational method. I thought that was a really big takeaway. I mean, you actually shared something recently, mate, which was pretty impactful about how you were when you first started out shooting on camera. So, like, what was the biggest change for you when you decided when you started leveling up your confidence? What was the biggest turning point for you, think?
Yeah, sure. I think the biggest reason people are scared to talk in public is because they're worried what other people will think, right? So there's this overwhelming feeling of being judged, or people won't like you, or whatever it is. And for me, the biggest change happened when I kind of pivoted my mindset into, this isn't really about me. It's about other people. It's about what the audience gets from it. So if I just go on the stage and I just talk about something which I know is going to help the person I'm talking to or the group I'm talking to, then ultimately it's not about me at all. It's just about the value I can give. And suddenly you care a lot less what people think, because you're just out there trying to do good, trying to help people. And that's like crazily reassuring. Yeah,
I mean, that's so true. And like right now, I mean, this kind of goes linking on a little bit onto Masami about how everyone really needs to be focusing on what they're doing with their message, and a lot of it should really be giving at the minute. I mean, her talk was amazing. I mean, I don't know where to start with her. Like the amount of like impact she's made on the world. I mean, she's had a big influence on yourself and the Warrior Academy as well, I know. But I mean, yeah, it's absolutely crazy to think what you're not doing when you speak to someone like that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, being able to ask someone she measures her success through impacts, right? So it's not a financial success or we've donated this much money. She does it by impact. So an impact could be making someone smile, or giving family water for a day, or educating a child for a day. Ultimately, those things are worth actually a lot more than money, right?
Absolutely.
But what I loved was when I could ask her, what does it take to come up with a business idea to create 200 million impacts? It's just mind blowing, isn't it? And what I really loved about what she was talking about was, well, there was two things really. The fact that she wasn't trying to create a business, she was trying to create a movement, right? That is it's so rare to find that in someone's why. Everyone's got a why they do it, why they're doing what they're doing in the first place. But to do it in order to change the world and create a movement, and every business has an element of giving, is just mind blowing.
It's incredible, yeah. I mean, it's got to. I mean, it kind of forces you to think. I mean, I know a lot of companies don't have a solidified vision, and I think certainly one of the huge, silver lining to this period is, and we've been talking about this a lot, about this reset phase. It gives you that clarity to really sit down and think, what are we doing? What is the point in what we're doing? I mean, we're all, yes, we all need to make money, but the money is just a mechanism in order to survive. It's not the goal. The goal is to obviously make some sort of difference or some sort of change. So, I mean, she's an amazing example of really, staying on point with that objective. And I think all of us sometimes, I mean, I am one of those people. I hold myself accountable to that. I mean, I am sometimes not always focusing on my vision. But that's the reason why we have it. We need to have some sort of objective. What's your vision, by the way, mate?
Our vision within the Warrior Academy is to help, well, with Not a Victim, which is our current project, is to mentor 1 million children through bullying within the next 10 years. So we're quite specific. And within the Warrior Academy, it's to see character development as a higher pursuit, or more important than the development of a child's education. So academics. So trying to see that change. Ultimately, so that children can go on and live a happy and successful life as adults. But I think what I absolutely loved about Masami was the way that she when you go through something like B1G1, you use it in your business, it starts to change the culture of your business a little bit. The conversations your team have start to change as well. So, like I said, it really lights a fire in your team because they're all value driven. It's not just target driven. You're looking at this you're looking at it through a completely different lens. Everyone is values driven, and for me that was amazing switch in the culture in our organization when we tied a donation into every single transaction. And now everything I do, and every partnership I make, everything I do as an entrepreneur, I partner with B1G1. So with everything I do, there's a link to a donation. And I know you and I with F10X Academy that we've just started now. We are looking for the perfect, the partnership we want to donate to, right? The cause we want to donate to, and the UN Sustainable Goals are a great place to start. Asking the team which one of those goals they're interested in or most passionate about.
No, yeah, I mean, certainly. I mean, I think every brand's going to be a bit different, but I mean, I think really putting some time in right now, as we have that time to really think and what impact can we make, I think is an amazing exercise. So who else did we have? I mean, we also had Sapna. Sapna was, going to Image and kind of linking with impact. I mean, she gave us a lot of value, and she's actually offered a free workshop, which I believe has filled up. Is that the case? I think
that's all booked up. Yeah, I think isn't the 12th of May?
Might be, yeah. So she was talking about how you look at brands that you admire and inject personality into your brand. I think that's something. I mean, for me, it took me, I think, probably the best part of 3 years before my brand started having some personality. I didn't even realize what a tone of voice was till like last year. So, but yeah, I mean, once you go down that and you understand what branding can do, I mean, that was an amazing talk just to refresh and just think how important that is.
Right. She's got a really clever system. If you look back at the video, she's got a really clever system where she asks you to think of, I can't remember, it's called the FAB system or something, where you look at 3 brands you really admire, and then you dive into why you admire them and how you think you can represent the values that you like from other brands into your own brand. And she gives some really good examples as well. And then she dove into the meaning of colors and all these different things that become so important, right?
Well, it goes incredibly deep. Like, I mean, a certain color gives you actually means something. So if you're like red, you're obviously quite fiery and stuff. If it's green, it means it's eco-friendly, sustainable. I mean, everything down to the colors in which you use it really does filter, and it should match your message, your vision, and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, amazing amount of info from that talk. I mean, that was awesome.
And just keeping it simple, right? I mean, one of her biggest points was not trying to make such a complicated brand, but keeping it really simple. I really loved that. I think that's so true. You know, we've been designing the Not a Victim logo recently, and it was quite tricky because there were so many different options. We basically started with a fresh perspective on it all, and when you're starting with a fresh perspective, it can be really, really difficult to pinpoint exactly what you want. But the winning logo was a very, very simple logo, you know, and it just thought, yeah, that kind of clicks, you know.
You got to just tell us quickly what's Not a Victim, mate.
So Not a Victim. Within the Warrior Academy, which is an organization I run, a martial arts organization, and one of the biggest things that I found we help students through is bullying. It's one of the 3 biggest transitions a child goes through amongst adolescence and changing schools. What we've noticed is that parents are really unprepared for bullying. They often act reactively rather than proactively. And so ultimately, you know, it's not just the child that goes through it, it's the whole family. So what I've been doing is I've been doing workshops around Dubai to help mentor parents through bullying. We had workshops booked in London, Amsterdam, you know, Abu Dhabi, in Saudi Arabia, all over the world in 2020. But that all got stopped because of the current crisis. So now what we've done is we've pivoted online, and now we're running that as another business, completely separate, online. And that links into our goal of, you know, if we can keep this online, we can actually hit a global market with this. We can help 1 million children through bullying, which is what I'm doing with Menno Siebinger, who's a co-author. So we're actually launching a book. We've written about 70,000 words in the book, and that will go alongside the online course. And we're hopefully doing that as a Kickstarter project. So that'll be really exciting.
Well, best of luck with that, mate. And I'm sure we'll hear hopefully all your successes down the line with that.
Yeah, definitely. It's super exciting.
So, I mean, going on to, let's have a look at who else we spoke to. So Raj was pretty interesting. I mean, you've made a note here, and I think this was probably one of the winning sayings from his talk. He said, he gave us a little story about how he was, I think, in downtown Boulevard, and he was rolling just before I think the lockdown got quite strict. And he actually ended up having a takeaway ordered from a restaurant because it was the only one that had its lights on across the whole street. I think most of them were operating, but because those guys had their lights on, it kind of nudged him to go inside, which I mean is an amazing metaphor because right now, you know, things have relaxed here a little bit in Dubai for those that are listening that are not here. But obviously we've got to restrain how much from the workforce go in. We've still got to be incredibly careful where we go. Obviously it has to either be, you know, exercise to a minimum, work if necessary, but mainly still self-isolated. But you can still operate to a level. And I think, you know, keeping the lights on, you know, metaphorically speaking, is a thing that really should be quite important right now because, you know, we still don't know when this normal is and when it's coming. And, you know, you've got to seem like you're doing lots online and keeping busy and keeping visible. And again, I guess this ties in with almost every talk, doesn't it? I mean, it's all linked. It's hard to kind of separate them all, but I mean, I think he shed a lot of, like, I think, value on how content's important, and that's obviously kind of my background as well. So, you know, we're talking to a lot of companies at the minute that are struggling to think, what can we do? What formats can we put out? Does it matter if it's on my phone? And I think, you know, it was really good to kind of get his take on the situation.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, you know, another thing that he really spoke about was using this time to generate assets, and that there's a couple of other speakers that we interviewed who spoke about that as well. But using this time, obviously keeping the lights on, but you know, he explained it from a shop perspective, where you go in, rearrange the shelves, take stock of everything, make sure everything's ready, and from a you know, a modern business, I guess the way you would look at that is, you know, can you develop assets, and can you improve what you've currently got? Can you use this downtime where people maybe they're not necessarily as open to buying your services as they were 2 months ago? Can you use this time to actually improve what your offering is? You know, and we spoke a lot about upskilling as well. I mean, after the interview, I had a long chat with Raj, and we spoke a bit about using this time to learn new skills, and also to connect with people. You know, that was another theme that went throughout the interviews, right? A lot of people were saying it's a great time to connect with people, especially
he said to water the plant from the inside the pot. So, like, look after your current. I mean, I had a conversation with one of the people in my network. He runs a social media agency. His name's Sam Drake. He was actually on Raj's talk, coincidentally, and we were having a little chat, and we were talking about kind of the restrictions and the problems and how some of his clients have maybe stepped back on what their commitment is with regards to financially with him. And he had a wealth of time, and we just had a little chat, and I was like, look, you really, I think, should be doing all you can to support them, like still keep the level of work going, even if the income's not there, because right now everyone needs, that support. I mean, social media is a lifeline now. I mean, I guess it was a luxury, I guess, going back 3-4 months ago, but now it's a very, very important medium to communicate with your audience, and consider his clients need that to support to communicate with their clients. I mean, if he has time, the ability to kind of nurture those relationships and communicate, then totally go for it. I think that, I mean, you got to give, and again, it ties back into Masami. You got to give and make an impact, and that doesn't necessarily mean to also charities, but it means to your network.
I mean, this is something you and I have been preaching all, since the beginning of the lockdown. Really, I mean, how many businesses are we taking online at the moment? 9. I think we're taking 9 companies online in May. So in May, we're building 9 online courses for small businesses who need to pivot online. For a lot of them, it's to save their business. If you're shut down for a period of 6 to 12 months and you're not able to go online, you're going to be struggling. And one of the things that we've been trying to say to help people with is during this time, instead of trying to get new customers, get new people who you have to take time to build that trust. It takes time for them to know, like, and trust you. Instead, get on the phone, speak to 50 to 100 people. I mean, we when this happened at the Warrior Academy, we phoned 3,000 people in 5 weeks, and it was just to have a chat to see how everyone was doing, and that made such a difference. From one perspective, it's like a hearts and minds campaign, right? But from the other perspective, you have an opportunity to have a sales discussion about how you can help them with their new challenges. People are facing.
I mean, I think a lot of people are actually missing. I call it like a pandemic product. I mean, I guess it's kind of the wrong wording, because the good thing with the pandemic product is if it's an asset that's online, it continues to work despite the pandemic. So these conversations, like you said, the data you'd get just from genuinely going in and saying, how are you, how are things going, to finding a problem. If you can have a solution for that person or help them, I mean, there's something there that, potentially could keep your business stable / keep them stable. Everyone wins. I mean, it's ethical selling at its best. Yet at the same time, it's through a crisis. I mean, anyone listening, really, like, one takeaway from this video, I think, the biggest one is just connect with your network and your clients and just do what you can to nurture those relationships. I mean, it's invaluable right now. Absolutely.
And you spoke about a pandemic product. That's really interesting. I think there's 2 ways I look at this. One is that people are facing new challenges. New challenges cause new problems. New problems need solving. So there are things that people are doing right now which would only really be a viable service during a pandemic, right? They're given certain names which make it very specific to what's going on here. It's created in a way which is very much, it doesn't have a competition in other areas because people can't do that service in other areas. So it's very, very specific.
Tommy and Ricky were doing that, though, were they not? Tommy and Ricky had something like that, just tying that in.
Yeah, they were doing free classes during this at the very, very first stage, and ultimately that's because they wanted to build that community, and that really helped them, right? They went from something like 3,000 followers to 500,000 followers on their Facebook page because they offered something for free, which was amazing value, which they would normally charge for. And they did that, and they got an amazing following because they were seen to help people. But what you've got to do at some point is transition into the second product, which really, it's something that carries on for a long time, something that will last through the company, and that's got to be at this stage an online digital asset. What I think people are going to do is, I think a lot of people are. The worst way to look at this is to bury your head in the sand and not do anything, because ultimately, this could carry on for the next 12 to 24 months. We don't know. So if you don't do anything, you don't try and digitize your business, you're putting yourself at so much risk. On the flip side of that, if you throw everything you once had out that was physical and don't ever go back to it again, you may be losing out on an amazing product or service which you currently had. And we may go back in 2 to 3 months, right? Where you can do that again. So I think most people are going to see the benefits of working online, of running a big part of their service or product online, and they're going to emerge with a sort of hybrid business, which which, you know, carries on doing their physical product, but perhaps they've moved their secondary or even their core product online, you know?
Yeah. No, I mean, case in point, look where we are right now. This probably wouldn't have happened if the crisis hadn't hit. So, you know, and if this platform this community gives, you know, a handful of brands some amazing, you know, tips and takeaways that, you know, revolutionize how they operate, then all of it's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah,
absolutely. Regarding, sorry,
we had Richard Woods. That was great fun.
Yeah. Oh, Richard. Yeah, he's. Well, I was actually I was filming with Nancy today, and she's doing the 5-day challenge with him. So that should. I'll be interested to see how she gets on.
I think everyone should. If you're not doing it, guys, then get on. I mean, you know, how much fun was that?
Who doesn't want leads? Eh? Who doesn't want leads? So you know.
I mean, this is it. I mean, it's such a simple process to offer a 5-day challenge. Such a simple process, and it was great how he went into the adverts and. You know, he gave a lot of value on the talk because he dove into exactly what he was doing. Shared his screen, showed us the numbers, showed us the adverts, showed us the flow, showed us the funnel he was using, everything, right? So I thought that was really cool.
It's crazy. Like I'm in content, and Facebook confuses, you know, the hell out of me sometimes. So I mean, anyone watching, go back and watch Richard Woods talk. He goes he goes into his screen and shows everyone what he's doing with his adverts and how he splits test them. And, you know, he actually showed us one advert, didn't he? That just to kind of give you guys some comfort, those that are not really savvy with creating content, his most performing advert was a static image, wasn't it? It was something that I think he had from a stock website. He put a bit of text on it, and it was the most performing advert he had out of all the stuff he shot. And he does a lot of content, so it doesn't necessarily mean the quality. It can just be down to simple messaging.
Yeah, keep it simple, right? And then going back, I think the last person we haven't spoken about is JP, Jean-Pierre de Villiers, and he spoke about the psychology of sales. That was our first one, and yeah, that was amazing, super insightful. I think.
I think he basically, you know, drilled on the fact that know your I think again it ties into. I mean, it all ties in together. Lee Warren touched base upon this as well, but right now people are not wanting to be sold to, and this again goes back to just have the how are you phone call. Like, it's selling is serving, and I think we said that probably the most across his talk. And you don't know how to serve someone. If you imagine being served in a fancy restaurant, the service is great if someone preempts, if they know what you want. So if you know, like, you know, if they know that you're running out of, you know, wine, or if you're a bit low on something, they'll come top it up, or that they know they haven't spoken to you in about 30 minutes, they'll go check if everything's okay. Like, it's that preempting and knowing your customer, which actually makes the selling actually really easy. So, you know, there's no way of getting that without, you know, understanding your customer and your clients and offering that help. You know, so I mean, it's a really good way to look at it. Just be ethical, go in, you know, try to understand the psychology of what your clients are you know, going through right now. And I think it's only you know, good information to help, you know, not leverage. I mean, leverage is, I guess, the wrong word. Don't know how it just sets you up. I think it just helps you prepare for something like this again. It helps make your business more stable. I mean, there's no downside.
It's maintaining that relationship, isn't it? I mean, I think one of the things that stuck in my mind was if you're overly selling to someone, it's like when someone adds you as a friend on Facebook, and then they, like, within a couple of minutes, you see this on LinkedIn all the time, right? If you ever got a message on LinkedIn from someone who's just added you and they pitched you straight away. By the way, I don't know if you're interested.
Financial stuff, my retirement. That's another one.
Oh, really?
Insurance.
Yeah. I got all thoughts coming in like that. I've almost stopped using LinkedIn because of it. But but it's just if you do that, you're going to damage the relationship. But the other thing is, you know, if he said, look, if you've got a friend and you try and sell something to your friend and they don't take you up on the offer, and you don't bother with the relationship after that, then you're missing out, because in a year's time, if you just maintain the relationship, they might be interested. It might be a different time for them, right? Yeah,
I mean, there's this amazing infographic that I got. I can't remember where I picked it up, but it's about the buyer readiness scale, and it's just trying to understand, like, where your customer may be. You know, if people are not ready to buy, then the only way to really ever convert that someone anyway, if you're looking just from a sales perspective, is to advice, add value, build rapport and trust, especially if your product is service based, like if like probably a lot of SMEs are in this group. You need to build that rapport and trust and make them aware of what you do and how you can add value before you even go down a sales route. I mean, the only people that are going to be ready to buy is if they come to you direct, needing the service, or whether it's something, whether you've got a product-based business, like let's say you're selling trainers or something, because you don't need rapport for that. It's a product, it's a bit different. So, I mean, this buyer readiness scale is an amazing thing. I'll actually share this on the group a bit later, just so everyone can see. But I mean, that's been something that's really helped me see things. But again, it ties back to the psychology of sales, like selling is serving. Get into that mindset of knowing how to serve your clients. This is the perfect time to practice and figure out that information, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
We did have one person we're missing, Leanne. Leanne, we didn't talk about Leanne yet. Digging into your assets you may be sitting on.
Yeah, this is it. So I mean, we've got a this is part of the Inspiring series season, right? So I was lucky enough to be featured on an article from Daniel Priestley on entrepreneur.com for pivoting online, with 8 other entrepreneurs who've got amazing stories. Like, this list of people is incredible. How they've managed to pivot their businesses online mid-crisis, at the threat of losing their companies. They're typically face-to-face companies, right? So taking it from a physical to an online global service. And you know, the first one was Liana, which was really, really interesting. And like you said, she echoed what Raj was saying about assets. You know, use this time to develop your assets. Look at what you've got. Look at the IP you could be sitting on, because ultimately, you know, if you can find a way to digitize that IP, whether that's things you've written, or, you know, turn it into blogs, or even into tools and apps and whatever. There's even an online course. You can. There's so many ways you can develop assets from your IP that you're already sitting on. Which that really stuck in my mind from what she said.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of, I'm not sure if so many people are savvy with this. I mean, obviously, we've had a lot of mentoring from and education from people like Den and Daniel Priestley, who will be coming on later in the month, guys. But assets. I mean, what would you say the stereotypical asset? What's an asset? You know, I think a lot of people would think maybe it's an office or a property. But I mean, Seb, walk us through a bit what an asset is, because I think a lot of people need to start looking at things a little bit differently with regards to that, because it changed the way how I saw business when I started understanding Daniel Priestley's, you know, talking about the 24 assets in his book. That was a huge shift to me.
100%. So I think you know, whenever one of the things that Daniel Priestley talks about, and you know what, we'll ask him about this in person as well. Let's do that. Yep. But one of the things he talks about is how whenever there's a problem in your business, it's normally down to an asset deficiency. So, for instance, if you have staff who are leaving, you can't retain staff, it's probably down to a culture asset deficiency. If you've got, if your business is at threat or whatever from a legal point of view, it's down to an IP asset deficiency. You know, what's
IP? What's IP, mate?
Intellectual property.
Yeah, okay.
If you have people signing up for your free offer, but then not going for your high ticket item, it's probably a product asset deficiency, because you haven't got a product ecosystem to take them on a journey, right? So really an asset is something that helps you in your business without you having to do much, from my perspective. And you build assets to help you solve some of the problems in your business, which don't then need a human being to solve them. And there are things that add value to the business. So, for instance, one of the things we're doing again after Next Academy is we're building online courses for our clients, and that is an asset. That's an online digital asset, which is one of the most powerful types of asset, really, because, you know, if you imagine you've got an online digital asset which produces something like £5,000 a month or dollars a month on online course for you, which you don't need to do much for, it just comes in, right? How much would you need in property to get that same return? Tell me the exact numbers.
I don't know, mate. It's a very good, it's a great question.
A lot is the answer.
A lot, yeah.
Right?
And the thing is, it's like the upfront capital as well to create something like that. I mean, the majority, I mean, I've seen online courses make money and they've just been using their laptop webcam or their phone. So you look at the upfront cost for that as well. So it's crazy.
This is it. And I mean, that thing becomes so valuable because it's generating an income, and you have a physical old school asset like a property, which could, you could be producing the same income, but you'd have to sink like £500,000 into the property to hold a property which would give you that much of a return, right? And so, and then you've got all the risk involved with it and all that sort of stuff. If your tenant leaves, all this sort of thing. And so, with a modern asset like an online digital asset, you're in a much better place, I think. And they're actually very, very straightforward to produce, and that's what we're helping people produce, especially now.
I think it's probably appropriate to announce at this stage that everyone watching or recapping on this video a bit later that we will probably be having some webinars completely free in the group shortly, discussing how this can be done, giving you guys a lot of insights on that, because that's what we've been doing, and we're more than happy to share that with anyone in this community. So anyone who has any questions with that, feel free to even post this on the video, and we can jump back and answer some questions. But we will be posting some more info on that, just in case anyone's interested.
Definitely, yeah. I think for us, really, it's about how much value we can just give to this community to help people.
Yeah.
I feel like these interviews and these talks are just giving so much value. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to these speakers, and I've read their books. I've been mentored by some of them. For me, it's incredible, right?
It's mental, yeah.
I'm taking notes as I go, and watching them back the next day to see if I missed something. And to have that caliber of speakers in the group is really, really cool.
I mean, yeah,
it's hopefully the inspiring series season, like I was mentioning with the guys who are featured on entrepreneur.com, will be really, really great. Because then you're seeing real life examples of how people have pivoted online mid-crisis.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's quite inspiring. That's really inspiring, because you're actually going to hear from them how they've done it. We've heard from Leanne, we've heard from Ricky and Tommy. We've also got Stephanie. It's probably worth me going through a little bit what's coming up, right?
Yeah, well, let's. I was actually going to lead on to that. Let's talk a little about May. We have shared a calendar actually on the group a little. I mean, I'm going to post it again because it was to a comment response. But yeah, we've got some amazing speakers coming up. So yeah, run us through a little bit who's in the lineup.
Yeah, sure. So I'll go over the inspiring Pivot Online series, because we've already had two speakers, Liana and Tommy Ricky. Tommy Ricky obviously doing the same company, Captain Fantastic. Christian Harris, he's going to be coming on. He is the founder of Slip Safety Services, and yeah, they brought their whole business online. Quite an amazing story. Wow. Stephanie Taylor, she's coming on as well. She's the co-founder of HMO Heaven, and she managed to bring her whole business online as well. We've got Mary Grant, and Mary Grant, she's from entrepreneur.com. She's a founder of Mary Grant Designer. And again, she had to close down 50% of her stores, I believe, and then just launched an e-commerce business straight away. Boom. Danny Savage, we've moved Danny Savage. Danny had was meant to be coming on I think it was the
Friday.
8th, but we moved on Friday. We moved it though because he's got a 3-day live DJing gig for charity, which is pretty cool.
Okay. Yeah.
But he says that gives us something extra to talk about. So that's true. We can talk about that. So that'll be good fun. Again, he's obviously pivoted his whole business online, which is awesome. And he's in Spain, so they got hit really hard with this. We've then got Scott Manzel, and Scott is an ex-professional racing driver. And what he did, from my memory, is that when all the racing circuits were closed down, Scott launched a business where he trains up using his methodology for teaching racing car drivers. He basically produced this online education for gamers to improve their gaming, so they can race better online, which I'm really excited for. I know you love your racing.
That is so niche. I mean, I suppose is it niche?
I feel bad taking that interview because I think you would love to do that one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know you're into your cars, but I mean, I live and breathe them. So yeah, but I'm going to be tuning into that for sure, 100%. I'll just be on that.
I'm into my cars, but cars aren't into me, Tim. You know my stories with the cars. I haven't got the best of luck.
No worries.
So yeah, we'll do that. Then we've got JP coming back on. We've got Phil Bedford. A lot of guys in the group will know Phil. Phil's in the group as well. Master Franchisee at Ascentive. He's going to be talking about entrepreneurship, thriving together, VS or versus struggling alone. So again, collaboration, connecting with community, all these key things, right? Yeah, Jason Greystone's coming on. Jason, really good friend as well. He runs an amazing group called Tears of Freedom, which essentially helps entrepreneurs to sort their finances out and live a more free life closer to their values, which is really exciting. So he's going to talk to us about how to live an inspired life through the Tears of Freedom. So that's going to be good fun. And then later in the month, we've got Daniel Priestley, which you guys know. He's in the group as well. Daniel's going to be talking about resetting and reinventing through the recession. So the upcoming recession, which I think everyone's getting ready for. And then becoming oversubscribed in your market. So creating your own market and becoming oversubscribed, having people line up to do business with you. So that's going to be really exciting. And Josh Smith is coming on. He's the co-founder at We Fill Events. Can you guess what they do?
Like something with events. Something with events. So I'm guessing. Events, right? I'm guessing now. I mean, I'm just stabbing the dark, you know. So.
Well, you guessed right. So well done. So he's going to come on and talk about how he fills events with his business, We Fill Events. And obviously, a lot of that is online. He's actually going to be talking to us about how to market your services when it feels like or seems like nobody's confident to buy. So that's going to be interesting. And then James White's going to come on. I think that's our last one in May. James White's going to come on. He's the founder of In Touch. He's the founder of James White Sales Success. So he's going to talk all about emotional intelligence and sales and how it's such an important skill that you need to develop, the kind of softer skills there. That's it in May. It could be that my wife Vicky, she's 9 months pregnant, so she's going to give birth at any moment, probably mid-interview. So no.
Well, I mean, Tim's on. I know. So sorry, I apologise to everyone in advance. You're going to be stuck with me if that happens. But we're trying to. I'm sure Seb will do everything in his power to try and make them. But I'm a handy backup, so don't worry.
Exactly. I'll just switch to my phone, and on the way there, I'll just try and continue the interview as if nothing's happened, as if nothing's changed.
In the back of the ambulance, blues and twos going, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
So it's going to be an eventful month, both for this group and for me.
Yeah, it'd be great. Well, I mean, best of luck with that. I mean, I know we're speaking on a daily basis just to keep updated with that, but I hope everything goes well there. And well, like I said, guys, if anyone has any comments, even after watching this film, just pop it in the description box, and we'll get back to you. But we'll do another weekly catch up soon. All right.
Awesome stuff. Take care, guys.
Take care, everyone.